Greetings, everyone. Thanksgiving week, Turkey Day week, whatever you want to call it. If you joined us a little while ago, this is take two. Uh, you know, technology, man. Technology is, we just love technology. We'll keep it at that. But welcome back, Fish. How's it going, man? Before we hop in the night, how's the weather? How's your turkey week looking?
Dude, it's balmy. Balmy. It's a steamy 63 degrees right now in Savannah, man.
63, bro. I wish we were in the 60s here in Florida, bro. We were in the 80s today, and it was like I can't even. It don't even feel like turkey week in Florida, man. It feels like the turkey should be at the beach sunning, and some people are like, I'd like to be doing that, but it's like,
Yeah.
okay, well, we kind of want some snow in Florida, so.
I would
But
love any semblance of winter.
right,
I'll take
right,
it. I'll take it.
right. I mean, we're supposed to have a little cold front. I heard
hmm
tomorrow night maybe coming through, and then here till Sunday. So God bless the cold front, man.
I hope so, dude.
Let's hop right in, man. Before we get into Georgia Tech hate week and SEC championship scenarios, big news, right? Jared Curtis, man, 5-star quarterback out of Nashville, Tennessee. Verbal commit to Georgia, and man, here comes the tampering, right? Here comes the NIL. Here comes Diego Pavia, Theo Vaughn, the Fighting Vanderbilts. They're threatening to be in the playoffs this year if they beat Tennessee. Wouldn't it be just like them to lose to Tennessee and then I don't know, is that the deciding factor? Who knows? But obviously, Fish, the biggest thing is they're promising him that they've already lost commitment from their 3-star quarterback, the decommitted from Vanderbilt. So a lot of people are saying, does this tread the way for him, right? What are the chances Jared Curtis flips? What do you think the importance is that we can keep Jared Curtis committed to Georgia, Fish?
Well, he's not going to play. He's not going to see the field next year unless, barring some catastrophe with Gunner, like an injury or something like that. Dude, that's our guy next year. And I don't think
Right.
there's a Georgia fan out there you would ask that would be mad about that. That doesn't want to see Gunner on the field next year versus Jared Curtis because, he's not going to play next year.
Right.
Like, Kirby's notorious for that. So, and I don't know. More power to the kid, man. Like I was saying earlier, if he's a home state kid, I don't know if he has any family allegiance. I don't know if he has any family alumni. But like if I was in his situation and, both of my parents went to Georgia, I grew up watching them play, going to Georgia games, between the hedges, all that, jazz. Nobody's getting me to go anywhere else. Like,
Right.
I don't care. Unless, Georgia, like in Vandy's particular situation, when they were courting him originally, or when we were going after him, maybe Vandy wasn't on the up and up, you know, because Vandy is known to have like one good year every now and then. And maybe that was last year, and they still wet the bed at the end of the season. So, the kid's like, all right, yeah, I want to win. I want to play. Let's go here.
Yeah.
And now, Vandy's offering him different things, and it's a different looking team with that new stadium with no cranes in the background holding up scoreboards and whatnot. More power to the kid, man. Who am I to say, please come play for us? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the kid's been compared to a little bit of Patty Mahomes. I know that's Patty Mahomes is bad news for Georgia because that was also Dylan Raiola, and Raiola. I mean, I think Dylan Raiola wants to be Patrick Mahomes. He wears 15.
Oh my
He wears the
God.
shades, like, and so to dog fans, it's like this is weird, right? But
Yep.
they contribute his arm strength, his legs, his smarts, and so I mean, you look at the coaching. I mean, I'm sorry, the quarterback cycle, and I agree with you. Obviously, you think Gunner is going to be probably the front runner for many SEC awards next year. Maybe even a lot of hype around him and Heisman odds next year, and he's definitely going to be the guy. And you saw how empty, in my opinion, Senior Day was this past Saturday, and so this is a team that's going to be returning. Um, and you can say this openly because we're going to be returning a lot of young guys, but NIL has changed the game so much, man. But
hmm
you look at Ryan Puglisi. Is he thinking, well, I haven't played it all this year? Is he looking to go somewhere quickly? Here comes Ryan Montgomery, who is a big touted, 4 or 5 star, depending on what site you're looking at, kid that's at Georgia who's been able to develop an entire year. And you're right, Kirby is going to lean towards a guy who is Georgia. I mean, we talked about it last week. If you could sculpt a quarterback for Kirby, Gunnar Stockton would be it. If you could, sculpt it and give it the underlining and the brain and put everything to it, that's Gunnar Stockton this year for Kirby. And so I agree with you, but you got to look and go. If we landed this, 2026, 27, I think it was, kid that we talked about last week, who's reclassified, and that's a possibility, but you don't know nowadays, right? And so, who knows? But I do think it's like, how many of these? This is the big question. This is the elephant in the room, and it hasn't hurt Georgia, but we may have liked the fact that we missed on Arch Manning. We miss on Arch Manning. We miss on Dylan Raiola. Here comes Jared Curtis. You got this feeling like if you miss with Jared Curtis, like, can we land the big fish, or no pun intended fish, or do we really need to land the big fish? What do you think about that?
Kirby is gonna Kirby. Okay, he's not gonna play some highly touted freshman coming in if he's got some guy that's been here for 3 years, loyal, riding the bench, waiting on his opportunity. He's not the kind of guy who's gonna give that opportunity away to someone else.
Mm-hmm.
Bottom line. And like I was saying, it's a now culture that we live in. These guys are coming out of high school like they want to play, and if they're not, like I said, diehard fans loyal to the university already, before or during the recruiting process, nothing is going to keep them here. And if they can especially go get the same money somewhere else,
right?
Yeah. So,
yeah,
I mean, that's just the world we live in.
Yeah. Something I don't have in your notes, Fish, but I don't know if you heard the news, but speaking of that kind of era that we're in, we're in a coaching kind of carousel. We're seeing some pieces fall. But before we move on to the coaching carousel a little bit, big news is 2027 number one running back in the nation, possibly number one recruit in the nation, Keemon Spell. Obviously with Penn State moving on from James Franklin, he took a visit this past weekend to Georgia, had a really great weekend, and news is he has moved Georgia up to the number one spot. So when you can look at what 2027 looks like, you could possibly sign the best quarterback, because this is another reworked alignment. It might still be realigned later on classification wise, but number one quarterback, number one running back in the nation coming, possibly coming to Georgia in 2027. It's like, it just begins to tell a story, right? Like, what is NIL? How is it reshaping everything that's going on? How is money flying around? I mean, you're hearing Lane Kiffin, who's getting tossed around here and there, and they're like, some schools have him at 90 million, and they're giving him a $25 million, NIL budget, and it's like, and I'm even hear high schools talking about. I heard today that high schools are thinking about doing NIL, name, image, and likeness, and I'm like,
yeah,
bro, if you'd have told me in high school that I had to pay for a jersey that one of the guys that I literally like sit beside and sleeps in my class, I got to pay for his jersey at where I went to high school, bro, I'm out. I don't know about you.
Yeah, no, dude. I mean, that's the way of life. That's where we're heading. That's where the sport's going, because there's no restriction. There's no regulation, and I hate to sound like old fogey Nick Saban, but the man's got a point. There needs to be a governing power that says, okay, that's cool. Okay, no, we're not doing that. There's not. The NCAA is a joke now. Okay, I mean, they're just fishing for whatever they can do, going after putting sanctions on God knows who for God knows what. Like, they're just floundering around because they know they're going out the window. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's just the world we live in now. But yeah, man, like, high school kids move across the country to go play at a worthy, attention-grabbing high school, that might be a AA school in Georgia, but the kid's got talent, and there's some school out in Texas or California that sees how good he is and offers him NIL money to move out there with his family and play quarterback for 1 year, then go to college.
Yeah.
Like, it's nuts.
Yeah, man. I agree with you, man. I agree. It's interesting. It makes for a very interesting off season. I mean, we're coming into National Signing Day, man.
Yep.
National Signing Day is what, in 2 weeks, week and a
Yep.
half, something like that. I mean,
Wild.
right before the SEC championship.
Wild.
Yeah, and then we got you know NIL, what do they call it? Quiet periods, and then we have 30 days worth of portal, and all this is going on, man. While playoff football is being played, it's the wildest thing I've ever seen, man.
It is.
It's crazy, but obviously Franklin dropped to Virginia Tech, right? That's the first. Um, did you put? Were you the one that said maybe Virginia Tech for Franklin? I want to give you your props if you said it. Do we think?
I don't think so. I don't
Okay.
think so. I don't think I was on that train.
I didn't have him there either, but I can clearly see why he went there. Apparently, he interviewed at Arkansas, and Arkansas just didn't have a lot of answers about NIL funding and
I don't
budgets and things
understand
of that
how
nature. And
they
you
have
know,
money, bro. They have
yeah,
money.
yeah, yeah.
They just don't want to spend it.
I don't know, man. And if you don't want to spend it, then what do you expect your coach to get accomplished? So, however, on the Virginia Tech side, Virginia Tech's like, hey, look, we're ready to get back to a national championship. We're ready to win the ACC. And Virginia Tech is, I think, a team that is, I think it can get back there. I mean, they've had subpar coaches for the past, I don't know, 5 to 7 years, and a James Franklin in the ACC, man, could be. I mean, he wins the non-big games, and ACC doesn't have any big games, so it's a perfect fit, right? Like, right? Is that what it? That's what
Perfect.
it is, right?
Perfect. The man went to where he would have the least amount of pressure. That man did not want none of the SEC, bro.
No,
So
he
he
didn't want
he
the.
went he went straight to the ACC, and I don't
Yeah,
blame him, man. More power to him.
it was either there or G5. So it's like, look, I'm gonna stay. I'm gonna try to do the unthinkable and just make people happy by making the playoffs.
Yep.
But if I'm in the SEC and the Big Ten, I'm expected to beat these teams. And man, I mean, look at the job that I forget the guy's name, but the interim coach for Penn State's doing right now. They got signs out there that are lobbying for him to be the head coach.
Yep.
And I mean, it might not be a bad idea to let the players pick the coach, because ever since Joe Paterno, they haven't really landed that. I mean, the powers that be haven't put the right person in place, because I
Yep.
don't know, we're not winning championships and we're not consistently beating Ohio State uh, and now Oregon and now Michigan. So
Yep.
I don't know. That's way out of
USC
the
too.
SEC, but that ship did fall. I also heard news before I got on that Auburn has its coach. It can't say who yet, but there's a lot of speculation. Have you heard this news, Fish?
No, but I have a feeling I know who it is, and
Yeah,
he's got
Auburn
to
has
play
his
his
man.
coach's last game this weekend. And as soon as Sunday morning, we'll know. It's Summerall from
Yeah,
Tulane.
yeah, yeah. I think so. I think it's Summerall. I think it's very close to where he's at. He's recruited that area, and he brings some discipline. He brings some. I just think Summerall. If it is Summerall, which I think we both think it is, it's going to be a good call for Auburn. We hope. Who knows anymore, right? Who knows?
Nobody.
But who do you think besides that? Like, who do you think the next piece to fall out of the teams that are out there that are looking for a coach, especially after some of these teams are not going to be playing football anymore, or might not be? They might be going to a bowl game where they can kind of tell their players, "Hey, uh, either that's going to be my last game, or at least they'll allow me to hit the trails and either not coach it or coach it later." They're probably going to tell them to hit the road, but who do you think the next piece that falls, Fish?
Well, I mean, between now and this weekend, I think Saturday afternoon around kickoff of our game, we should probably be hearing something about the Lane train and where he's pulling into. And I don't know if you're Mississippi and the guy you have isn't loyal enough, or whatever, to let you know now, or whatever, that's making you wait, that's stringing you along. I'm not going to give him the opportunity to win his championship here. I don't think. Like, half of me is like, get the out of town. Get your butt gone. Bye, deuces, because that sucks. I don't appreciate what you're doing. But the other half, they could possibly, I don't know. Let's be honest, man. You really think Ole Miss is going to beat Ohio State, Georgia, Alabama. You really think they would? Like, do you think there's a chance?
I mean, this is the only chance that Kiffin's got at Ole Miss. I mean, so up to this far, he's probably got the best opportunity this year. This is probably Ole Miss's best, maybe not their best team. I think they probably had a little bit more talented of a team, but a more favorable schedule this year.
Hmm.
But I mean, like, if you're Lane Kiffin, man, like, and you're sitting there going, what if? What if I can coach this team? I get a bye through the SEC championship. That's great. He doesn't want to be in that game. He doesn't care to be in that game. He may get a first round home game, and that would bode well for him. And so
Hmm.
you are what? I do my math. What, you're 3-4 games, right? So if you get a
Yep.
first round, what is it? So first round, so it's a 12-team playoff, right? I'm having a
Hmm.
brain fart here. 12-team playoffs. So you got 3 games. You got 3 games
Yep.
to win a national
3 games if you
championship,
got that by.
but
Yep.
3 games or your future. Like, is he saying, is he willing to give up the possibility of playing for a national championship? Now, if Mississippi State if Mississippi State gets the upset, I think he's bye bye, because it will show a
Mhm.
lot of things. It will show they're not ready, they're not prepared. Maybe,
Yep.
hell, I don't know. Maybe he throws the game so he doesn't have to deal with that decision. I don't know. He calls the plays,
Yeah.
so that's pretty easy. But you think so? By that, you're saying Lane Kiffin's probably the next piece that falls.
I think that we're gonna know according to the reports we're hearing. It's almost like this reminds me of LeBron and the decision. You know, like I think that this is that's exactly what the situation is.
Yeah,
And I don't like, I'm losing respect for him by the day. Dragging these teams on along. Now, who knows what was said behind closed doors? Because if Ole Miss is saying, it's now or never, then maybe knowing Lane's personality, big middle finger to you. I'm going to drag this out as far as I can and affect your recruiting and everything as much as I possibly can before I bounce.
yeah.
You know?
Barring, I mean, I don't know. I mean, they say that they need a decision from him, but depending on if he's even, I mean, what will be the, I mean, initially, does Ole Miss have which Ole Miss has no, there's no win for them here. They only hold money. That's the money is all they hold. I mean, what have they done? They anything they say to him right now that has not happened up till now, he's going to look at him and be like, "Well, you haven't done it now, and I'm winning games. I'm making the like if he's looking at NIL budget, he's going, you've never
Mm.
given me really the NIL budget I asked for, and I'm making the playoffs every year, which they missed it last year, and they blew the season at the end. And look, Ole Miss will have some picks too. I mean, believe me,
Mhm.
you see it every day on Facebook and all these other social media pipelines. It's like once they get on a thing of, okay, Lane Kiffin to wherever, now they're going, who's to Ole Miss, and there's already betting lines on if Jeff Lebby goes back to Ole Miss. Now, like, this is a huge thing coming up for the Egg Bowl. They're like, well, is Jeff Lebby looking at his last week? It was Lane Kiffin and looking at his new team. This week is Jeff Lebby looking at his new team, and it's just like, wow, man. Like, I'm just kind of wanting this. When these dominoes fall, man, it's going to be stupid crazy, right? But I don't know, man. Well, here's a question before I give you my kind of pick: is it LSU or is it Florida?
I don't know. And Scott Strickland is why I don't know. And then again, Lane will be under the thumb of the governor in LSU, at the same time, apparently, because that's how LSU works now, I guess. They can just make a phone call to the AD and then fire the coach, whatever. I honestly don't know, man. It's so hard to say. If I was him, I'd go to Florida. I'd follow in Spurrier's footsteps. I'd take the visor to Gainesville. But they would have to tell me. Now, I did hear that they were interviewing for a GM, and I think that might have affected Florida's chances a little bit, because Lane's going to want his own guy. He's not going to want somebody handpicked by Scott Strickland. You
Right.
know, he's going to want his own person in there, and I don't know what they said or if they actually hired anybody or anything like that, but I think that might have hurt their chances, just a little
Well,
bit.
Well, yeah, but it kind of both of it could point back to Ole Miss too. It could be like, all right, well, LSU has a jacked up governor, and Florida has a jacked up AD, so I don't want to go to either, right? So maybe, hell, maybe he does stay at Ole
Exactly.
Miss, right? For me,
Yep.
I think the next card to fall, and to be unfair, I will tell you that Oklahoma State, it's not in the SEC, did fall today. Eric Morris took that position, the head coach of North Texas.
Hmm.
But if we're talking like, I don't think Penn State falls yet because I think Penn State is waiting to see if they can talk to Brian Hartline. I think he just wants to be talked to from Ohio State. They want to talk to him, but I think Arkansas comes off the board, and I think it's because I think Arkansas likes Alex Golish from USF. I think that's who they
Yeah.
can get. I think USF will finish up this weekend. I mean, they'll have bowl implications, but USF is going to hate it because once again they've made a really good choice, and there's somebody that can take USF a long way in the future. But I do think he's a hot name. He will move while it's hot. But that's just my kind of. I mean, I think Arkansas may fall next, and maybe it's Alex Golish. But the Lane Train man. I mean, the guy was. They had an open week last week, and he had more news going than
Than
some of the
anyone
teams that
else.
had games.
I know.
It's
I
just
know.
crazy, man. It's crazy. So Fish, let's not let him have any more of this podcast though. So let's move on and look at
Let's
scenarios. Now
go.
I know I loosely looked at SEC scenarios last week, and I'm coming upon some information that I'm hearing is man, it's so weird because it's like there's information out there that the SEC rule books has in play, but they're also saying, depending on the reasons why they go to those rules, are different than people are thinking. So, in other words, like, hey, we had these lawyers come in and write this SEC handbook for what happens if, and we don't even use it. So let's look at
Hmm.
scenarios for everybody. Let's talk through a few scenarios, right? So, easy scenarios, right? Let's talk about scenario A. Okay, let's talk about how Georgia and Alabama get to Atlanta. Okay. So Georgia and Alabama and Atlanta means that Texas A&M would have to lose and that Alabama would obviously have to win, and then Ole Miss would end up having to obviously beat um, the Egg Bowl, Mississippi State,
Hmm. Yep.
for that to happen. And why? Because it would come down to Texas A&M, Alabama, who have not played, and it would come down to that was where you would see Georgia, Alabama. Now, how you would see Georgia, Texas A&M is if Alabama loses in the Iron Bowl, Texas A&M beats Texas, and therefore Georgia and Texas A&M would play each other. The only way that Ole Miss gets into the SEC championship is if Alabama loses, if Texas A&M loses, and they would have to win, which are scenarios that obviously you look and go, that'd be crazy. And then the craziest out of all that would be that they would play Georgia. It'd be a rematch of Georgia Ole Miss. So those are the scenarios. They don't necessarily so Ole Miss win plus 2 upsets equals their shot. And then you got Alabama. Win is almost assured, but in the event of a tie, some metrics still favors them, and that would come down to um, for some odd reason, if there was some debacle between them and Texas A&M, which we don't know about because they're not saying it. And this is by the way, I got this from 3 different sites that are reporting the playoff stuff. And for Texas A&M, it's very easy. They beat Texas, they're in, right? The only reason they would lose
Hmm.
is if Ole Miss. They're the only other reason they might be in is if Ole Miss were to lose that game. It's been a long time, man, since rivalry weekend has predicted so many things. But here's the thing: the good news for Georgia, if you're wanting us in the SEC championship, is if either or is an upset, Georgia's in. If A&M loses to Texas,
Hmm.
Georgia's in. If Alabama loses to Auburn, Georgia's in. So So Fish, hearing all that, like what let me hear your, are you on the fence of I want to be in the game, or you're going, you know what, I really don't care what happens to all this, let it land how it's supposed to, let's rest.
Well, it didn't do us any favors last year, and in fact, no conference champion made it out of the quarterfinals last year.
Hmm.
Every
Hmm.
team that got a bye last year lost in the quarterfinals. I don't know, man. I think momentum's a big thing, and I mean, we're either off for the SEC championship week or we're off for the first week of the playoffs. Do we want that extra game? I don't know. I love winning the SEC championship. I do, but and you know, the kid in me wants us to go, wants us to play Bama, wants us to roll them by 14 or 21 because I think they're an exposed, wounded team. Okay. And I think if they limp past Auburn and get in there and then we end up going, I think we have way more momentum on our side and our team knows who they are now versus back in September.
Right.
Okay. We're a different team. And anybody who knows football will attest to that. We're on a hot streak right now. We're playing really good. We might be the best team in the nation right now. I don't think anybody wants a piece of us right now. And I don't think whether we got a big Alabama problem or not, Georgia has an Alabama problem, like Texas has a Georgia problem, whatever people are saying or we're saying last week. I think we're good. I don't want to play Ole Miss again.
Mm.
I'd rather play Bama if we end up going to Atlanta.
Right. Well, and here's another scenario. Let me ask you this, and we'll move on to Georgia Tech. But does Georgia get, if Georgia doesn't make it to the SEC championship, does Georgia get a first round bye? Are they a top 4 team?
Well,
Because that means that
you know,
Alabama. Because here's my thing: the SEC championship is not supposed to hurt you, right? Where would now it's by rankings. So where would the AP or the playoff committee per this, I guess the playoff committee is not, I guess the playoff committee is now is not the AP, but they use the AP to talk about rankings because no longer, it's so weird, man. No longer does any conference championship matter to stack you 1 through 4, but they do use the AP
yep.
to stack you, whether regardless of conference champion, you finish in the top 4. So my thing would be if Texas A&M makes to the SEC championship and Texas A&M loses, they're still an SEC championship participant with 1 loss. Where does that put them in Georgia? Where does it put Alabama if Alabama goes and wins? Now they're the SEC champion with 1 loss and they've beaten Georgia. Does A&M drop out? Does Georgia stay in? And here's the crazy scenario: does the AP poll view Georgia as better than Alabama, even though now Alabama got beat by Texas A&M and has 2 losses, but Alabama beat Georgia? Crazy, right? Who knows?
Dude.
It's wild. It's really wild, man. It's really, really wild.
Well,
it makes me just start to figure like these conference games, these conference championships need to go away. They need to go away.
It's convoluted, to say the
Right.
least, right now. It is. And, Bama would be one of the 4 highest. It's the 4 highest ranked conference champs, right? Isn't that what it is? No matter who it is,
No,
wherever they're ranked.
it's regardless. So if
Yeah.
when the AP settles, when the dust settles from all the conference championships, if the AP if Georgia doesn't play in that, how do you move them? If they're 4, how do you move them? So you're telling me Georgia has no game. They can't have a game. They weren't allowed to have a game. But 2 teams played, and now you're going to move them out of the top 5 because they couldn't play a game? That's where this gets weird. And so Georgia stems from going, I don't get to go to the SEC championship. So therefore now what I just got was, instead of getting a first round bye, I now have a home game and I play in the first round. But now all that could be due to not. So that's why, in my opinion, we control our own destiny. If you want to have a first round bye, which you may say is not important, you might want to play a home game. But like, I don't know, man. Unless you're playing 12, it could go any way. I mean, you could see Oregon, you could see, I don't know, you could see. I'm trying to think of some other teams. You could see some SEC teams. You could see a Vanderbilt. You could see a lot of teams in those
Notre Dame.
slots from 11 to 7 that you don't. I don't know if you want in the first round. So I don't know.
I don't know. I think the 5 spot is the prime spot because you host you get the group of 5 champ, which is what they're saying, the highest ranked group of 5 team right there coming to Athens to play a playoff game.
Which will be James
That's
Madison probably.
prime time right there. That's
right.
That's where you want to be, in my opinion. I think that's where I want to wake up Sunday morning, Selection Sunday, after the conference championships next week, and that's where I want to wake up and see us ranked, if I had my way. But I also would love us to win. I want to win. I want to win as many games. Every game we play, I want to win. So, but we beat Tech, and then there's going to be an upset. Alabama or A&M is going to lose. One of them's going to lose. It just feels that way. Like I just feel it.
Which one?
And we're going to get that conference championship.
Which one?
I think.
Which one has the better odds of losing on Friday and Saturday?
I think A&M does. I think Auburn's got a good defense, but I don't think whether it's Ashton Daniels or Deuce Lightning or whatever Lightning McQueen, whatever his name is, whether it's him or Ashton Daniels playing quarterback for Auburn, I don't think they move the ball very well against Bama's defense. Because the only thing Bama can't do well is run the ball.
Yeah, it ain't Deuce,
and
bro.
I don't think they're going to need to run the ball.
He can't throw the ball. Like, Deuce can't throw the ball, man. Like,
yeah.
He's not the answer. Like, I hate to say it. You can tell right now that the reason why they redshirted Ashton Daniels is he is the quarterback of the future. And I think you see Deuce McKnight. I think you might see him. I mean, you're going to have somebody come in there and develop him as a passer. And I don't see that happening, man. Like, I could see him going sitting behind somebody at Oregon, and Dan Lanning, next thing you know, he pops up 2 years from now. Who knows? If Dan
Oregon loves them a quarterback. Oregon loves quarterbacks like that.
Well, they feel like they can get them to chunk it around enough to where they can kind of make it happen. So, But yeah, man, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be absolutely crazy. And so let's roll into Georgia Tech, man. It's hate week. Georgia Tech. First off, context: the rivalry between Georgia and Tech dates back to 1893. According to the series record, Georgia leads the all-time matchup 72-41-5. 2025 edition is particularly compelling. Both teams, what do we have? 12 overtimes, 44-42 victory by Georgia. 12 different possibilities to lose or win the game. And man, I think I lost 12 times the amount of hair that I've ever lost in one football season in that game last year. I don't know about you, Fish, but I predicted. I went through so many emotions. 12 times of, well, what's this going to feel like when we lose, or what's this going to feel like when we win? Have you ever gotten to that point where you start to just kind of go, all right, let me just soak it in. What's it going to feel like to lose this game, right? I did it 12 times last year.
I think I have. I'm pretty sure I have because we're in the group text.
Yeah.
Me, you, and Rich.
Yeah.
I think I have. It's a roller coaster, bro. It's up and down and up and down. And thank God the past 3 weeks of the season have been the most level out of all the games we played in the past 2 seasons.
Right. It's crazy, man. It's Georgia Tech, man. Georgia comes in 10-1, firmly, I think, in the mix for the college football playoff. Tech 9-2, obviously dropped a game to Pitt last week. I don't know about you, Fish, but that game kind of a head scratcher, man. It felt like Pitt had their number. It felt like that Pitt jumped out to what they wanted to do, and you kind of felt like it was like, man, are they going to let them back in this game? And then Pitt kind of shut the door on them. But man, did you watch that game? So I mean, what it screamed?
Oh,
to
I
you?
Definitely did.
What did it scream to you about Georgia Tech?
Tech is scrappy, but Pitt also doesn't. I mean, Georgia Tech's defense is holy, holy,
Uh-huh.
holy, holy.
Uh-huh.
Like there are holes everywhere. I am not near as nervous, and I don't care who their coach is or who their offensive coordinator is. I know Tech's probably going to score next week, I mean this week against us, but I think we still outscore them by
Right.
14, 21,
Right.
17 maybe. I don't think the game's very close. I think it's competitive maybe at first, but then I think we kind of pull away because I don't know that they're going to be able to stop us.
Yeah.
I really don't.
I think the defense has
I
gotten
think our def
worse than last year.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Um, both teams coming into this ranked. I think Georgia Tech still feels like from the outside in, they may have a little bit of a chance. There's some things that have to happen now for them to slide back into the ACC championship. But also remember,
Yeah.
the conference championships now do not give you an automatic bid into the 12-team tournament. It just allows you
Hmm.
to land where you land as far as that goes, which is different this year, right? They're really pushing everything from a
Hmm.
ranking standpoint. They feel like last year when you looked at some teams and you're like, man, these teams have worked their tail off, and Boise State comes in here and gets to be, sit at home and relax, and I can't remember if that's what happened, but gets to relax while this other team played in a really
Yeah,
tough conference. And I
yeah.
think it was what, Tennessee and Ohio State, right? That was crazy. That definitely should have been
Hmm.
Boise in that game
Man,
instead of Tennessee.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yep, big time, dude. That was. I actually feel bad for my Tennessee friend fans out there because they got the short end of the stick last year.
Yeah, man.
Like
They
they
played in the
shouldn't have had to
toughest
go up there and
conference
play Ohio State
in the
in the first round.
100%. They played in the toughest conference in the nation, and no reward, no reward for it at all. Some statistics before
Yep.
we look at things, Fish. Georgia's big mark here. Gunnar Stockton leads the team. So Stockton's up to averaging 260 points total yards, per game. 220 of it, 21 of it passing. He's averaging around 40 yards of rushing himself. Nate Frazier, man, he's had a couple of games, man. I almost to one point um, thought maybe we left him in a little too long last week. He came up limping a little bit off a play, and
Hmm.
obviously emerging big time defender that's emerging for Georgia is Chris Cole with the absence of C.J. Allen, and I haven't heard right yet. I do know that the results are good. That it is something that is week to week, and so maybe I don't know, man. I don't think you see C.J. Allen in this game. I just don't. But I think Chris Cole is going to be a huge factor if C.J. Allen's not in there, along with Raylan Wilson. And then the names to know is, Haynes King, right? Averaging 339 yards of total offense per game. Like, he is the guy. And you got to think Pitt. The one thing I was with Pitt, Fish, is are they going to come in with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder? This is hate week. This is, Brett Key is going to continue to remind Georgia what he felt and how they felt last year, but also coming off of a Pitt loss where they may have sealed the deal without, not going to the playoff, not going to the ACC championship. So kind of all their goals now might be kind of done. So this is it, right? They had to create a new goal. And
Yeah.
for Brett Key, he's going to be pumping Georgia, right? What's your take on all that?
Uh, I think their season ended. I think they crashed and burned when that clock hit 000. I think Tech's season was gone. I think it was over. And, and so that's another reason why I feel like, what are they playing for? Pride? That
Right,
doesn't really exist anymore. You know,
right.
um, I don't know. I think I think they're hurt. I think I mean, they're going to be up. I mean, they're 19, 20, 21-year-old kids. At least the majority of them are. Um, so I mean, if you can't get up for a big game against the top five team, then you're in the wrong sport. You're in the wrong business. Um, but at the end of the day, I think they're just in the back of their heads, dude. That they all know it. Like their season's over.
Mm-hmm.
Like whether they win or lose, it's over.
Yeah. Yeah. So real quick before we get into, man, it's going to be we're going to pick a few games tonight, so we're going to hop in a little early. But give me uh, uh, give me your one big key to victory for Georgia to pull this one out. What do you think is going to be the divider in this game to see Georgia prevail? What you got, Fish?
Our ability to bottle up Haynes King and keep him from having any kind of impact whatsoever running the ball against us.
Okay.
I think he's a dangerous runner and passer, but I think if you nip one of those, you take one away, he's extremely mediocre.
Yeah.
You know, if we limit his running, or we take one of them away. We got to
Right.
take one of them away, and if we can't get pressure, then we're going to need to defend the run and the pass really well. But he ran the ball really good against Pitt. Like he was getting in there, he was banging. You know, I know 8 overtime, and like you could see it in Arch's face. Lost. I don't know. We just can't let. So see, I'm gonna every you
I think we
hard.
are. I think we're
No stripping the
losing.
ball. Don't try to punch the ball.
I think we lost Fish there. Yeah, so I agree with Fish. I think what he was what he's perceiving is Haynes King last year was he beat us pretty bad last year as far as his legs and his ability to be multidimensional with his legs, his arm. Georgia Tech lost a lot of weapons, not only on defense but also on offense. So at the end of the day, I think I really think that that's a huge agree right there. I think if we can limit Haynes King to being one dimensional, making him throw the ball, beat us. And here's the thing, I think, in my opinion, that if you look at Arch Manning and you look at DJ Lagway and you look at some of these quarterbacks, that in my opinion, Georgia kind of came into going that they can challenge us with their legs. And do I think that they're as good with their legs as Haynes King is? Well, no. But I do think when you look back, our defense has been able to garner enough pressure and enough pocket presence to be able to hold those quarterbacks to having to beat us with their arm. And I think no different needs to happen with Haynes King. I think I got you back, Fish. You there?
Yes, sir.
I see him. There you are right there. I agree, but I agree with you. For me, I think Haynes King is great, but I also think, when you look at, like, I think of, tempo. I think of early on in this game, I agree with you. I listened to what you said about, Georgia Tech being, maybe their season's over, right? You're going to know a lot about, does Georgia establish the tempo early? Do they establish the run game? Do they establish moving the football? And in my opinion, it's going to say a lot for this Tech team if they answer, right, if they have answers for things. If Georgia does establish their offense and Tech can come back and hit, and Tech can come back and get some 3-and-outs and hang in the game in the first half, it's going to give them a lot of momentum to play for this game. And so I think, in my opinion, I think Georgia has to continue to do what it's done in the last 2 weeks and establish, early on the tempo, establish the fact that we can get off the field on third downs. And I do think if we can get them out of this game in the first half, I think you're right, Fish. I think this can be a done deal. I think they'll roll over, they'll quit, and explosive plays, I think, are a second thing. Although I only ask one thing, I think if Georgia can make sure and control the explosives, right? Not Haynes King controlling the
Yep.
explosives. I think Georgia will be very productive
Sure.
in that. Well, Fish, let's hop in real quick because we got a bunch of them. But let's hop in, man, and look at picks for this weekend. And we're going to go through, we're going to pick some outside of the SEC, but also look inside the SEC prominently for the weekend. So let's start right here. Let's start a couple of outside, 12 o'clock, Fox. This is the big Ohio State versus Michigan. It's big noon kickoff. It's in Ann Arbor. Can Ryan Day beat Michigan? He's accomplished everybody this year. He's looking to go in and play Indiana in the Big Ten championship, but can he get past Michigan? Right now, OSU favored by 9.5 on the road against Michigan. Fish, who do you got in this one and why?
I think Ryan Day gets the team. I don't think they have, but I don't think this is his time. I don't think this is the year. We also haven't really seen Ohio State play anybody really good this year. I mean, they dodged Indiana this.
Yeah, I did not get the pick, but I didn't. Did you have? You had Ohio State. Ohio State, yeah.
Ohio State.
I think
Yes,
Ohio State
Ohio
gets it
State.
done too. I think they Ryan Day gets it done. We don't want to hear if he doesn't get this one done because I can only imagine, man. It's like I don't know if I would have ever thought that I would have seen Ryan Day or any coach from Ohio State get fired after the season they've had. But does it get to a point where Ohio State's like, look, I understand we're winning national championships. I understand we're winning Big Ten championships. But if we can't beat Michigan, is it that important to this university? You would probably say no, but I don't know, man. I don't know, man. It'd be like Kirby if we're winning SEC championships and national championships, and I mean, I guess we are doing that with Alabama, right? I mean, we're kind of not beating Alabama, so I can't really say anything about that. So yeah, man.
They can't beat us.
Right, exactly. So moving along to 3:30 Arkansas, and let me make sure I get this day right too. So this is on Saturday, 3:30 SEC Network. Missouri travels to Arkansas. This is the Mr. Irrelevant Bowl. The thing I'm looking at here is potential 47 degrees and 20-mile-an-hour winds in this game. Arkansas trying to lobby for Bobby Petrino to take this job next year. Missouri, you got to think if they lose this game, man, is it like 7-5 season for Drink? Like, would you have imagined that? But right now, Missouri can't find any offense. Arkansas can't find any defense, and yet they meet coming up on Saturday. Fish, who do you got in this game?
Give me Missouri just because Arkansas couldn't stop anybody from doing anything. Missouri's going to score, whether it's their starting quarterback or that freshman. It's not going to matter. Missouri by 14 at the end.
Yeah, I think it's going to come down to defense. I mean, I agree with you. I mean, crazily enough, Arkansas didn't even look good on offense. And I mean, I heard a thing say when he's good, he's Talon Green. When he's bad, he's Talon Green. So I don't know, man. He's got like two identities. Due to some technical difficulties, we're going to get to the big games and make sure we make it, Fish. Let's hop to this one. 12 o'clock, big game. The Egg Bowl, Mississippi State, Ole Miss. A lot of playoff implications on this game. This is a 12 o'clock game on Black Friday. This is the first game that kind of starts the weekend. Fish, what do you think the spread is on this game? What do you think the spread is, and who do you think it's for?
Nine.
Close. 7.5. 7.5. Ole Miss. I think it started at 9 actually, but it always dwindles down. So 12 o'clock Black Friday. It starts the SEC kickoff of the weekend. Who do you got, Fish?
Ole Miss by
You wonder in this game, right? Um, you wonder if like Lane Kiffin, like, is this a game that lands kind of like Kentucky did, that kind of lands like LSU did? I mean, granted, they are going to be able to run the football, but we all know that Lane Kiffin really doesn't want to run the football. He wants to do it when he wants to do it. But I don't think Mississippi State can beat Ole Miss.
Yep.
But I think Mississippi State can do something stupid like a couple years ago and maybe keep it close, and then, I don't know, score a touchdown and lift their leg and pee in the end zone and get a penalty, and then Ole Miss like take advantage. I mean, come on, man, right? That could happen. I think that Ole Miss
How about that?
wins, but I think Arkansas covers, man. I think Arkansas covers. Give me Ole Miss to squeak one out. Lane Kiffin wins the Egg Bowl by a field goal, last minute field goal, and it's gonna be scary, man. It's gonna be real scary. 3:30 Black Friday. We got we won't do Georgia State yet. 7:30 Black Friday. We got Texas and Texas A&M. Texas, it's at home. Texas ranked number 3. Texas A&M ranked 3. Texas ranked 17. Right now at home, Texas is losing it by 2.5 towards Texas A&M. Fish, who you got in this game?
I'm going to be watching the Iron Bowl on one screen, and I'm going to be watching Texas and Texas A&M on the other.
Two different nights.
I can't believe those games.
2 different nights.
Games are at the same time.
No, 2
are they?
nights.
Oh, one's Friday, one's Saturday. Oh,
Friday,
okay.
Saturday, yeah. Friday, Saturday.
Sorry. Okay. All right. My bad. Woo. All right. Cool. All right. Give me Texas by 3.
All right. So you got Georgia going to the SEC championship. All right. I too am calling upset on this one. I think it's at home. I think Texas has a much better defense than a lot of these teams. I think Texas had a decent week last week. Maybe Arch finds himself a little bit. They are going to have to find a run game against Texas A&M, though. And Texas has not been able to find a run game this year. I think Sark's going to have to depend on the run a little bit this year, which he has not done so far. But maybe they find one, right? It's a better time than ever to find one. You don't got to deal with the 12th man. It's a home game. You got Matthew McConaughey on your side. That's Texas's 12th man.
All right.
And I think he takes from the victory, man. I got Texas in this one, man, by a late score to put them up 24-21. Give me at home. Give me the 3 points. And I agree with you, man. This is going to be a really, really, really good game. Moving ahead. Let's see here. SEC. Sorry, I got to get myself together because I'm trying to pull SEC games and the other games. Here we go. 12 o'clock Saturday, SEC, South Carolina, the Palmetto Bowl, right? It is the Palmetto Bowl? That's what it's called, right? Yeah. Clemson, 6-5, coming to 4-7, South Carolina. South Carolina is a 2.5-point favorite in this game. Sandman at noon. Does it even make any sense? But who you got in this one, Fish?
Oh my God. Give me South Carolina by a late touchdown.
All right. South Carolina late touchdown, man.
Dabo's done.
Is this a must win for South Carolina? South Carolina's gonna go 4-8, and they're gonna bring Beamer back. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I feel like it's a must win for South Carolina, but I also feel like Clemson's got a pretty good defense still, right? Their offense is a little shaky, but this is the battle of the 2 shaky offenses, right? But I'm gonna take Clemson on this. I mean, I'm gonna take Clemson to get it done on defense, and I don't know if South Carolina can find enough offense. I don't think neither team can find enough offense. Low scoring game. If you're betting on this game, take the under. I mean, because I think it's gonna hit. And give me Clemson, man. Give me Clemson by a touchdown, man. Like, I feel good about that. And 4-8, man, South Carolina, man. It may not get Beamer's job, but it definitely gets him rumbling. It may give him like a, hey, here's what you got to have next year or you're out type type scenario. 4:30 ESPN2 Saturday, Gainesville, Florida. Florida State heads into UF, and man, Florida just looks sheesh, man. Florida just can't get it together, but damn, Florida State can't get it together either, man. So this is a battle of the 5 and 6s versus the 3 and 8. Florida's up, but Florida's a 1.5 favorite. I don't know, man. Who you got, Fish?
Who's the best player in that game on either side?
I don't really know, man. Who?
What's his name?
Is it Jaden Ball? DJ Lagway? I don't know.
So I think that gives Florida. Yeah, I think it's Castellanos. I think it's the QB for Florida State. I think that gives Florida State the edge, slight edge. I don't know, not even 3.
Yeah. Man, I don't even know, man. Like I don't even know where to go in this game. I believe both teams can blow it at some point of view. I think out of the two teams that'll blow it, I think Florida will blow it before Florida State will. So give me Norvell because he's not an interim, but he acts like an interim.
He does.
Give me Florida State. I don't know, man. Who knows? By 2, maybe it's a safety. Who knows? Sounds like a safe by 1, maybe. Yeah, you're right. Who knows, man? It's crazy that's even a rivalry. Last 3 games, man, we're going to pick tonight. Tennessee, Vanderbilt, 3:30. Playoff implications on the line for Vandy. This is 3:30 on Saturday. Tennessee, 3.5-point favorites in Knoxville. Fish, who you got?
It's in Knoxville, so Tennessee's winning by a touchdown.
Oof. Okay. Yeah, give me Tennessee, man. Let's whatever we can do to get Vanderbilt to fall apart, that'd be great. It will definitely stir the conversations or any SEC teams with 3 losses are they due to make the college football playoff. I'm just going to love to hear some of these SEC teams squirming, going, we got 3 losses, but here's the thing, man, if Vanderbilt loses and all these 3-loss teams lose, man, you know what happens then, right? You know what happens then, especially if A&M gets knocked off. Yep. Texas enters into the scene again, and they probably get in. They probably get in, man. They probably get in because they're Texas, right? Yep. I got Tennessee with you, man.
Yep, exactly.
It's going to be a close game, man. Like it's going to be that 3-4 point mark, I think, maybe 4. Give me a little bit of a higher score, though. I think Tennessee scores, like you said, in Neyland. I'm thinking this is like a 35-31 type game right there. Defenses are still both, I think, just not good enough to hold each other down, but offenses are good enough to move the football.
Yeah.
And 3:30 game. Yep. Temperature's a little chillier, 49 degrees expected to be in Tennessee that night or afternoon into tonight. So I like Tennessee in this one. I agree. Oklahoma, playoff implications on the line once again, but they're playing an LSU team that barely beat Western Kentucky last week. Did you watch that game, Fish? That was a deal to watch, bro. 13-10 win over Western Kentucky. Bravo.
Wow.
Bravo. Oklahoma.
Wow.
LSU. Oklahoma's favored by 10.5. The only other double-digit favorite of the weekend is Georgia. We'll talk about them in a second. But who you got, Fish? Oklahoma, LSU. Oklahoma. I mean, if LSU if LSU wins this game and finishes 8-4, I will be baffled. I will literally be baffled, dude. I will be like, I don't know, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because I have a feeling if you look back and you go, if you'd have kept Brian Kelly, I know it was maybe time, but would you be? I mean, look at it. Look, Fish, you're 8-4 right now. Do you think Brian Kelly could have won a couple of these games and they're 7-3, and then there's bubbles, right? You wonder, right? But I don't think they beat Oklahoma. I don't think Oklahoma wins by 10. I think Oklahoma wins by. I think this actually probably gets wild. The only thing I would say is Oklahoma can't find an offense.
Yeah.
They have one, but they've not found it yet. And they abandon the run so much. I don't know, man. They're going to get a bye, not a bye. I'm sorry. They're going to get a home game for the playoffs, and but I don't know, man. It's going to be early exit for Oklahoma if they can't find a run game. So I'll take Oklahoma as well. And that leaves us with 3:30 Georgia Tech. This is the old-fashioned hate. We are down to 12.5 points right now favoring Georgia. This is a 3:30 game. This is a neutral site game for Georgia, playing at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, right in Georgia Tech's backyard. But apparently Georgia Tech needs some money, so we're going to play it in Mercedes-Benz, which I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, they didn't play Bell and Bobby Dodd Stadium, so who knows? Maybe it'd be better for them. I don't know. But Fish, who you got in clean old-fashioned hate? Georgia Tech.
Obviously, I'm picking Georgia by a lot. I think they're going to win by at least 17. It's going to be close. Hobnail booed on a quarter.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, when you look at this game, man, and you look at the 12 OTs from last year, Georgia fans would just like this game to ideally be done by around quarter three. Q3 would be nice. It's in Atlanta. It's in a neutral site. I think Georgia had a week playing Charlotte where we may have looked ahead a little bit. Not trying to give anything away. For Kirby's sake, we'll say he didn't look ahead because Kirby doesn't do those things. But I do think, man, that you're right, Fish. I think coming off of Pitt and all their dreams and their hopes a little bit dashed, I think that I don't think they will not be up for this game. I think Brett Key will have them up for this game, but I do think that Georgia can Goliath them early if they can establish tempo, establish dominance at the line of scrimmage. If we can make Haynes King be a threat only by his arm and not by his legs. And I think, man, we can establish dominance earlier, and I think that's what will make this game what the experts are saying 12, 13, 14 points. And so give me Georgia, and give me Georgia to get it done. Every time I think it's going to be big, though, Fish, it's not, right? I picked minimal for Texas, and we beat them majorly. I picked minimal for Mississippi State, and we picked major. So forgive me for being a little bit what do we call it? I don't know the word for it, but anyways, give me Georgia. Give me Georgia by I'm going to go right up under expectations. Give me Georgia by 10. Give me Georgia by 10. I like them. I like Georgia at like 34 to 24 type thing, 31 to 21 type thing. They're going to score, but I do think maybe I'm hoping they score later on, right?
Yep.
So this game's out of hand. Maybe they get some touchdowns where Georgia Tech's rearing back. But yeah, man. So it's going to be a fun weekend of football, man. So much football to watch. It's going to be heart pounding. It's going to start. Don't eat too much turkey because it could affect the way your stomach rolls through this weekend. But Fish, always a joy, man. I know we've had some technical difficulties tonight, but I know we've seen a lot of people popping in and out of the chat. So thank you. If you have not already done so, we would appreciate your support. Go to YouTube, follow us on Dogs Down South, TikTok Dogs Down South. You can see right up here, Apple Podcast Dogs Down South, as well as Spotify Dogs Down South. And you can follow us on Facebook as well. Fish, it's going to be a great weekend, man. To your family, man, I hope you guys have a great Thanksgiving. Always fun, man. Any last words going into this weekend?
Entertaining. But going to come into football.
Yeah. It's gonna be good, man. It's gonna be good. I hope hope everybody else gets the heart pounding this year, and we can save all the heartburn and heart pounding for everybody else. And yeah, man. And my heart's in the SEC championship, man. I can't see not playing in that game. So I'm looking at Texas and Texas A&M, and maybe I really don't want to wait. I really don't want to wait until Auburn and Alabama. But I will tell you, it gets a little bit wild, man, if it does get down to that game, right? Because if we get into there, man, it's a rematch with Alabama, and that's going to be interesting. But hey, man, for myself, for Fish, for all the dog fans out there, I hope you guys have a great Thanksgiving and a great weekend of college football. And as always on Dogs Down South, go Dogs.
Go